October isn't quiet, it's surgical. We're stepping out of a volatile eclipse season that tore away illusions and exposed real power dynamics, both personally and globally. But now the focus sharpens. Okay, Mercury and Mars meet in Scorpio, the sign of depth, truth, and transformation. This is where the story of October actually truly begins. September's eclipses were cosmic endings, disguised as disruptions. Relationships, alliances, and systems faced the truth about control and authenticity that brought about new beginnings in your life on some level. Mars squaring Pluto the week after the eclipse amped up the intensity, forcing people and nations to reveal where power had become corrupted or misused. October continues that storyline, but the tone shifts from eruption to excavation. The energy now demands we understand what lies beneath what just broke. Yet there are the typical interesting transits of the month. New and full moons, Sun, Venus, Mercury sign changes, but I want to call out the bigger shifts, okay? On October 6th, Mercury dives into Scorpio and immediately approaches Mars, the ruler of that sign. Together, they color thought and speech with raw emotional truth and intensity. This is classic 8th house territory, vulnerability, secrets, intimacy, shared power, and transformation. When Mercury and Mars join forces here, our communication becomes weaponized or catalytic, sharp, passionate, and potentially piercing. It's not small talk season, it's tell it like it is season. And then by October 20th, they conjoin exactly. And this is actually the first of 3 conjunctions that will unfold into January because of Mercury's retrograde cycle, therefore going back and forth, touching Mars. This isn't a one and done hit. It's a saga that I will post more about soon. On the mundane world stage, this can manifest as investigative exposure, truth leaks, political standoffs, psychological warfare, and people finally saying what's been buried. Collectively, it's truth surgery time, the mind cutting to the root, okay? Now, mid-October brings a subtle but seismic shift. Around October 13th, Venus enters Libra, her own sign of balance and beauty, but on the same day, Pluto stations direct in Aquarius at 1 degree. So these two will form a powerful trine in the early air signs, and that energy kind of feels like a breath of clarity after months of intensity. And it's not the old Capricorn version of Pluto trying to rebuild power hierarchies, okay? This is Aquarius energy, decentralization, innovation, and collective awakening. So Pluto direct here signals the next phase of humanity's transformation, the reprogramming of systems through technology, growth, truth, and group consciousness. Venus in Libra softens that edge a bit, teaching that, even revolution needs some grace. On the world stage, we're going to see new alliances forming, voices uniting across divides, breakthroughs in social, financial, and digital systems that redefine fairness. But there's still going to be wars of words. Don't forget that. It's power with a new operating system, so it's not top-down control, but like a networked evolution. Pluto in Aquarius says the future's already here, and Venus answers, okay, then let's make it beautiful and fair. All right? As October winds down, Neptune drifts retrograde back into Pisces, returning to the final degrees of the dream world it's been in its own sign since 2011. This is the last visit to its own home waters before it eventually moves into Aries next year, and it's asking for closure. Illusions are going to dissolve here. The collective psyche is going to confront what it's been escaping. On a spiritual level, this is where compassion must replace delusion. On the world stage, it can show up as rising tension between tolerance and intolerance, the test of whether humanity can still dream of unity in a time of division. It's an emotional tide pulling us inward, back to empathy, imagination, and spiritual accountability, okay? So October's rhythm is intense, but it's clarifying. Mercury, Mars, and Scorpio is going to help cut to the truth, sometimes with words we don't like. Pluto direct in Venus and Libra rebuild a little bit more with integrity. Neptune's return to Pisces asks us to feel deeply without drowning in all the noise out there. So it's not a month to react, but more to respond from self-mastery. So speak with precision, move with purpose, and stay aware of the hidden currents shaping the collective dream. All right? I'm Tom Garland, Cosmic Guide. Follow me for more updates as we move from the shock into resonance. Thank you.